Hola mi comunidad, ¿cómo está todo? How's everybody doing today? It's Chief Roca joining you from the live podcast room in the Allentown Police Department. It gives me great pleasure to talk to you today. I hope that you're doing well in this December. It's the end of the year. I can't believe how fast time goes. But I want to talk to you a little bit about today I'm here with Detective Garcia. Can you say hello, Detective Garcia?
Absolutely. How you doing, everybody? Thank you for joining the podcast with our chief. This is a wonderful time, obviously, in our community for the holiday season. And the chief's going to give you an update on last month and some of the things that are coming up this month. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Detective Garcia. One thing I want to talk about is the crime stats, is some of the things the work that we're accomplishing with our men and women that are serving as police officers here in the city of Allentown. I'm telling you, I'm very grateful to them, to their families. We want to make sure that they're provided with great benefits. One of the things you're seeing on your screen is about how many firearms we've recovered so far this year. And you should see a little flyer posted up on your screen. It's 248 firearms year to date. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is good work by our department. I believe we surpassed our number from last year. These are guns that are not going out into the community to cause violence or anything of that nature. And one of the things that I want to tell you is that our calls for service are up 11% year to date compared to last year. So that means that there's a lot more calls coming in. It's busier out there for our officers, but we're getting the job done and we're meeting those expectations. A stat that I want to point out to you is that the Part 1 crime is down approximately 11% year to date. Those are the more serious crimes that we talk about. And proactive policing is up 35%. Now you might be wondering, what is proactive policing? What does that look like? Well, I'll tell you. It's business patrols, it's walking patrols, it's proactive stops, it's vehicle stops, it's things that the police officers are doing each and every day and encountering with our community. But one of the things is not just about, putting people in with fines or citations or things like that. It's about educating as well, because our officers will tell you. I hear from the community a lot of the issues that are happening, such as the loud music that's coming from the vehicles, and I will tell you, our officers are citing for that when they can. Absolutely, that's something that's a concern. Additionally, we talk about the Part 2 offenses, those that don't rise to that level of the quite serious offenses, but they can be quality of life concerns, and we very much have a plan in place to address that. As you know, City Council had approved by 6-1 to raise our complement up by 6, and that's really going to give us a step in the right direction to how community policing is going to fit in the city of Allentown. One of the things that I want to tell you is that we saw a small rise in motor vehicle thefts compared to last year. At times people are, because of the cold weather, are warming up their vehicles and leaving the cars unlocked. That sometimes invites somebody to come along and get into the vehicle and then drive off, and then the vehicle obviously is stolen. So just a reminder, if you don't have a keyless entry or that type of thing, or the key fob that automatically starts the car, I would suggest, unfortunately, sitting in the car with a little bit of cold to do that. Or if you see somebody walking around, that type of a situation, report that. Give us a call. I want to be aware of the situation so that we can kind of prevent that. Obviously, sometimes we can't prevent it, but we can be partners in getting that information, that communication, so that we're able to kind of put that crime stat a little bit down. And it's nobody's fault, right? Because you do want to have a warm car. You got a lot of things going on. You have your beginning of your day coming through. So it's just a matter of being mindful of your surroundings, being mindful of what's going on, and also reporting any suspicious behavior or activity. So that'll help in kind of bringing that situation down. And again, I want to say a big thank you to our patrol, our criminal investigations division, all the various units within our department for the hard work that they've been doing. Ladies and gentlemen, these folks right here are professional police officers, and they take this job very seriously. We're going to be here in partnership with you throughout this whole time. It doesn't matter what's going on. We're going to be there for you. You call the police, you call our communication center, understand that call is received and that call will be answered. I had some folks come up and say, it took an hour, or it took so long for the officer to go to the call. I'll remind you that at times we prioritize the calls depending upon what that schedule looks like, and our officers are out there doing it. But having that additional staffing is going to be great. We have plenty of officers in field training right now as well, and they're going to come off of it. So that's going to enhance our numbers that are out there to touch the community, to be able to connect, to build those bridges, because that's what it's about. And one of the things that I really want to see is us connecting with our community, building those bridges, and that's going to be the part of communication. So when you do see an officer out there, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to say hello, and they in turn are going to come out and chat with you. Obviously, if there's a call for service, they might not have time to say hello, but in my time when I was on patrol, I would remember that and I'd come back to that person and say, hey, thank you for saying hello. That's all it takes sometimes to do that, to build those investigations and also relationships. One of the things that we want to talk about now is some of the investigations that have been happening, some of the media releases that have been going on. Our Vice unit has been very, very, very busy, and they've been able to execute various search warrants in our community of individuals that are selling drugs, illegal drugs, to our individuals out in the community. Now, I'm very cognizant that, we take the drugs and guns off the street, but it's thanks to the hard work and information by our community to stand up and say this is not acceptable in our neighborhood, regardless of where you live, Center City, South Side, West End, North Side of the city, East Side. Listen, we're here together. There is no one part of the city that gets any less policing than any other. We are here to make sure that our services that we provide are professional, that we are out there answering calls, and that we're in this together. Many times there's times that it might not appear that way, but I can tell you and assure you that the Allentown Police Department is here to serve our community and our neighborhoods. And with the Vice unit, a recent hit, they were able to hit a location on A Street, and they located quantities of drugs to include heroin, marijuana, and pills. And in that particular one, they located 3 handguns, loaded handguns, packaging material, digital scales, and U.S. currency. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's about. It's about removing the guns off the street. When individuals, and I worked in the Vice unit for many years, and one of the things that I saw was some of the pain and suffering that our people that are going through addiction go through right now. And there's but you got to remember, this is about having compassion for people. Sometimes people get into a slide where their situation they can't control, but with the support of our community, with the support of the people that we have, we get them on the right track. But it's a path that we're going to have to take together with them, and sometimes people need a hand up. One of the things that we want to say, that even though we arrest individuals, it gives them an opportunity to hopefully get on that straight and narrow, because that's important. Part of that reentry process and being able to connect with the resources to support that. There's a lot of social determinants of crime out there, and we want to be able to be a partner in that so that we can connect people with the right way. So indirectly, that'll reduce our crime across the board, but it takes partnerships, folks. As a police department, we're empowered to enforce the law, and I believe that every citizen resident within the Allentown community expects public safety as priority number one. Additionally, the areas that you live at, you want to be able to decompress, and do that. I hear complaints of loud music constantly going on, of dirt bikers going through. And like I said before in the last podcast, we were able to connect with Mike Schlossberg, our representative here, and talk about specific dirt bike legislation. So that's getting wheels and that's moving forward. So I'm excited to see how that is going to evolve and develop so we can have some good tool sets to be able to really impact that dirt bike issue that was happening. Might be a little cold now, that we might see a reduction, but it still occurs, and it's something that we as a community have to work together in identifying. We have many of the individuals involved identified. It's just a matter of being able to connect on the information, and if you see something, the message is say something, because that's how we're going to get ahead. And we also responded to a couple of fatal motor vehicle accidents, unfortunately. It's never a good call to receive, but we will go out there. Our crash reconstruction team goes out. We work in conjunction with the district attorney's office, and we look at the factors involved, and a determination is made, and then we go from there. So if you are a witness to or see any sort of crime that occurs out there, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can call us, you can email us, you can hit us up on our Tip 411 app, because that's very important and vital. Information is key here, folks, and we have to be able to collaborate that information as well, and to make sure that that information is provided is true, correct, reliable, and that we're able to then put that into the case, because it's clearly something that's important. A couple other incidents that happened throughout the time or some shots fired incident. A recent one was great work by our 4th platoon. They were able to stop a vehicle about 4:30 in the morning, where they arrested 2 individuals, and they were also to pull a black handgun with an obliterated serial number, and an additional quantity of drugs. So it's key that we're able to work this, and our officers are responding to those situations. And it's key that if you're an Allentown resident and you hear or see of something that is happening in a club that isn't supposed to be active, report that, please. We want to work with our community to shut that down, because it's, to me, such a problem for our neighborhood when our people are in their communities, in their homes, doing the right thing, working hard every day, working through this pandemic. Let me tell you something. We want to be able to make your community that much better, because vibrant communities is important. We can have all the development we have, but it's nothing without the people in the community. So thank you for being a partner with us in making this a better city for everyone. Some of the events that we participate in, I'm very happy about this, and I'm going to have Detective Garcia talk about this in a little bit as well, but it was the Red Hot Hoops Challenge that we took place on November 5th at the Salvation Army. We teamed up with the Salvation Army, Coach Doug Snyder, Coach Kathy Piston, community members, organizations, and high school basketball players, and it was a great fundraiser to support the Salvation Army. You should see a graphic on your screen there. But we also did something that was pretty unique and interesting, and a first in my book, actually. Detective Garcia and I actually went out and we took the podcast on the road, and we went live for a little bit of time in conducting some interviews there, and seeing the basketball players. Now I got to tell you, the students from Deer High School that were present, God bless you guys. You were gentlemen, ladies, perfect interactions. I was very proud to hear about your successes. I was very proud to see you enjoying playing the game, because that's what it's about, folks. It's about empowering our youth. And that message you're going to see with me, you're going to hear unity over division. And we can't, in this city, to move forward, we can't divide. We can't put up silos. We got to work together, and we got to be able to make that message consistent across the board. But I will tell you, I want to ask Detective Garcia, can you talk a little bit about that experience? Because for me, it was phenomenal. I really liked how it was set up. We were able to kind of talk about the game, see what was going on, kind of see some interesting shots that happened. I think you don't want to see my basketball skills out there, because I'm not really a basketball player, but it was something that I did enjoy being a part of.
Yeah, well, I will say, I think we might have a future at Sports Center, but not really. It was great, and I want to thank, we want to thank Salvation Army. Their Wi-Fi system is extremely good. We were depending on that Wi-Fi to continue the podcast. As many of you know, we take a lot of pride in this podcast and communicating with all of you. And so Salvation Army was able to come through with the Wi-Fi, and we set everything up. And you're right, Chief. The kids that you interviewed, the folks that you interviewed, the director over there at Salvation Army, man, it was smooth. It was real smooth, and it was smoother than I thought it was going to be, and it was great. We raised a lot of money for Salvation Army for their Red Cattle kickoff, and it was all about that, helping folks in need, and so that we can continue to help our community. But it was great. I had fun. We might do it again. I don't know. It's up to you, Chief.
I love it, and I think one of the good things too is we were able to also at times broadcast in Spanish as well. Something that is key and important to our community, where we are a minority community, and it's important that we communicate in Spanish as well as in other languages. So I very much thank you and the team for going out there and being able to represent Allentown Police Department, and also to build additional bridges with our community. And I really... It really warmed my heart to see the young men and women actually playing the game and focused on their futures, because that's huge, because I love to see that. I can recall my time playing football for Deerhoff, and it just brought back memories. So it was really a good thing.
Absolutely. Great times.
Perfect. So I want to transition and thank St. Luke's Health Network at Sacred Heart Campus. They held a first responders appreciation lunch. And it was a great time. They were on the grill cooking burgers. It was kind of cold that day, but we stopped out there and we said hello. They were able to feed our team. You just have a graphic up there, and we were able to say hello, and they had some nice snacks for us and everything. But it's not about that, folks. It's about connections. It's about building those bridges. It's about making sure that you and I are on the same page, and that we're able to kind of communicate. And to St. Luke's, thank you for that. It's a huge thing for us. And as far as the crime prevention and community engagement training, we want to say thank you to Cedar Crest College for their Center for Police Innovation and Community Engagement training in a little bit ago. The officers and supervisors from Allentown Police Department had training on measuring what matters, evaluating crime prevention, and community engagement initiatives. The department, we're continuing to make positive efforts towards training conversation on these topics. The instructors for that were Dr. Scott Hoke and Dr. Carrie Baker, both very learned people who very much have a passion for data, for the analysis of that. And through this center is the same center that we are looking internally in our department at the data, and also externally with some of our outreach work that we're doing. So we're going to have this data coming together, and we're very excited to see what that data shows, because if it's showing something that maybe we're not doing correctly, we're going to fix it, and we're going to be able to kind of make those important decisions based on sound footing, not just because maybe this is the way I feel or this is the latest trend that's happening, but we have to do right by Allentown, and we got to do right for the people that we serve. And I want to say thankful to thankful for attending the Thankful Thursday at Sheridan Elementary School to a breakfast and a coffee. Absolutely, they were great. I very much look forward to going there. We showed up and the kids were already ready, and they were handing out desserts and coffee to the teachers and the students that were arriving. And one young man relayed that he wanted to be a police officer, and that'd be something great to see. I really much want to see that in our community. And the kids were happy. They got to interact with us, we got to interact with them, and it always warms my heart to see our children with smiles on their faces. Of course, they had their masks, so you could see their eyes and kind of the crinkle there, but you could definitely see that they were smiling. And I appreciate the time of Sheridan Elementary and the teachers and the staff there, the principal, for having us out on school that day. So thank you very much for that. Dick's Sporting Goods, they were able to donate equipment to our Allentown Police Athletic League mentorship program, and that's something that's huge. We very much appreciate the support that our community gives us, because we don't do it alone, and we have a pickup there with Officer Campanelle with 2 employees, representatives from Dick's Sporting Goods. So thank you for that. We very much appreciate it, and it's going to be put to good use. So that's something that I very much value, and thank you for that. There was a school assembly that took place on November 12th. Sergeant Bill Williams, Detective Louis Garcia, and Detective James Stanko spoke at Roberto Clemente Charter School on the importance and proper use of social media. And I kind of want to get Detective Garcia's insight and input into maybe a few tips for our community that's listening right now about, kind of the social media thing, especially concerning our youth.
Absolutely. It was a great event. I want to thank them. There's a lot of schools that want us to come out. We got some stuff scheduled up for the new year relative to social media. It's important that, our parents and even our school administrators and teachers, stay on top of, looking at what's happening on social media. I think the biggest thing is making sure that, you have access to your child's social media, that you are monitoring it. Obviously, even their instant messengers, things like that. We talked about the TikTok safety. We talked about Facebook and Snapchat at the assembly. And, in the assembly, the children were actually very receptive. We talked about consequences. We talked about, what could happen if you did certain things or you were involved in certain things relative to social media. So the biggest tip is to just stay engaged, and again, many of you know this. We're preaching to the choir. We don't have to preach to all of you. You all are good parents, but sometimes we get complacent, including myself. I have a 16 and a 13-year-old, and we have to stay on top of just checking their social media. So it was a great assembly. Thank you to Roberto Clemente for having us out, and we're going to visit more schools, Chief.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. I also want to talk about one of our officers, Officer Ozoa. He put together with the partnership with the Bethlehem Police Department a flag football game, and they played at J. Bernie Crum, and it was a real great game. I arrived there in the beginning, and it was kind of competitive. It was pretty cool. It was a neat event. Some of our former football players donned their T-shirt and shorts, and they were able to get out there. At the end of the day, Allentown did come out victorious by a score of 28-26, but it really could have went either way. So thank you to both players from both departments, Allentown and Bethlehem. We always shared a special relationship as neighboring cities. So that was a great thing put together by Officer Ozoa, the team from our Allentown, the Bethlehem police officers, Allentown Parks and Recreation, the Allentown School District, and both FOPs that made this game possible. So thank you guys for putting this together, and I hope to see this growing, because there's a little good competition that can take place there. So that's an awesome thing. On November 16th, we did a preschool visit. We were invited by the Kula Preschool over on the south side. And we even had a special guest, Canine Jax, with Officer Fagley. And they were able to talk to the students. We read a story to them, and they were able to ask about various things and questions that we were having. And then also we covered the Apd Model To Inspire. And that's integrity, service, professional, innovation, responsibility, and excellence. So that's something, a little acronym that we have there to teach our youth some of the things to be able to kind of move forward and have that support as they're going through their educational process. Detective Garcia stopped off for a community engagement event at a local senior center, and he provided them with tips against fraud, safeguarding emails, financial elder abuse, traveling during the holidays, and also financial crime prevention, telemarketer awareness, phone scams, cyber crimes, and the importance of reporting elder abuse. Just because you get old, or an elderly person, does not mean that you should be a victim. That you should be able to know that as the police department, we're here to support you in that efforts, and we're able to connect you with different services, Center of Aging, Lehigh County Aging, all these different support groups. Our community intervention specialists can provide support. So if there's anybody that you know that you might think that needs assistance, let us know and we'll connect them. We definitely want to be able to kind of be like able to shift some of that thing to the county agencies that are involved in that, and also to our community intervention specialists that can build those connections and those bridges with the people. We were also able on November 23rd to go do a turkey jam at the Central Elementary School. And that's a basketball game that took place with the students, the officers. We were also able to cheer for different people there, and it was an all fun. Our officers were out there; they were shooting hoops. The young people were shooting hoops, as well as other teams that were there. And Detective Garcia, who was the other team there that we had there? They were pretty good.
It skips my mind now, but there's a professional team or semi-professional team that's coming out, and we can put it we'll type it in the write-up. But they were actually phenomenal, and what was great about them is that they didn't make it about them. They were really, really good basketball players. I mean, semi-pro, and they were passing it to the kids, passing it to the teachers, occasionally hitting some magnificent shots, but wonderful team. And then obviously all together, Central has always been a great partner of ours, and I love every year to go and try to ref and do my best. I didn't make a lot of calls though, Chief.
No problem. And yeah, no doubt they were actually very, very good, and the skill set that they showed was phenomenal. Like, it really, I looked at them and I was like, wow, those are very good basketball players. So thank you for that. And that's something that is pretty cool. And finally, I wanted to say thank you to the Scouts. They gave a big donation of popcorn from the Girl and Boy Scouts and for their lovely visit there. So that's something that's pretty cool. We definitely support our scouting program there, and you should see a flyer up there with the boxes of donations and some of our officers that were a part of that process. So thank you to the Scouts for that. It's definitely something that is absolutely awesome. And speaking of community engagement, we also attend the various meetings in the community, and that's something that is huge. Many of our officers from our community outreach unit go into that, and we have our Midway Manor meeting, Mountainville, 1st Ward, Robb area, 8th Ward, the West End Alliance, Fairview, Muhlenberg, Riverfront, and West Park. Many of these groups are what I call engaged citizens that want to be part of this, but that doesn't mean just because you don't attend, you're not an engaged citizen. Just do your part by providing the information, connecting, and taking part in also what's happening in our department, because we're going to put our information out there and make it as transparent as possible. And one of the things that is important with these meetings is that it's not just one face or one person that's going. It's not just the police chief. We talked about making sure that it's not all about me. And clearly it's not. It's about empowering our officers to be able to, for the community, the public, to know that you can go to any Allentown police officer and you will be treated with respect, you'll be treated with decency, and these officers can assist you with whatever the need might be at the time. And we want to be able to highlight and thank the officers that step into those roles and are able to communicate with our public and be able to kind of navigate some of the issues and concerns that come up. So with that said, if you have time, I would strongly suggest to come out to those community meetings, because sometimes you might be wondering, well, how do I take part? What community meeting do I go? If you're interested in knowing, reach out to our community outreach unit. Sergeant Leonard, Sergeant Williams, they're both great guys. They're working to better our city, to build those connections. And, you might work, you might have kids, might not be able to go to the meetings, but you will still be informed. Sergeant Leonard puts out a great monthly update that he sends out, and it provides kind of a snapshot of everything that's happening in the police department, and also the ability to have that information out there. And one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we're inclusive of all our community, not just certain people, not just certain groups. It's about everybody being involved and having that time. Some of the upcoming community engagements that we're doing this Saturday, December 11th, we're having our Pal Kids annual Christmas party at the Lehigh Valley Grand Prix. I look forward to that. It's going to be a good time for the Pal children that are involved in that activity. December 16th, we're going to do a shop with a cop for the children in need. Obviously, you've seen our officers with beards and mustaches and things like that. For November and December, we're able to donate money for a cause, and for the money that's collected, the first half for November, obviously that goes for Shop with a Cop, and then the second collection for December goes to a charity or donation through the FOP for a needed organization. And I just want to say thank you to the officers that take part in that. It means a lot to me. We're able to do that. I think some of the officers want to have a beard and mustache throughout the whole year, but that's up for discussion. For me, it kind of gets itchy when it starts to grow in. But I do want to say I do embrace that concept, and we want to be able to support our community as well during that time. On December 17th, is the annual Christmas Toss for Charity. It's going to be teams at Harry's U-Pullet, the Allentown Police Department, and the Custom Diesel Service, the Allentown Fire Department, and all the special guests and charities, including the Special Olympic athletes and the Burn Prevention Network. And the question that remains, and this is for Detective Stanko, will Detective Stanko defend the record-breaking toss of years past? That yet to be seen. So hopefully you can come out there and take a gander and see if Detective Stanko will hold on to the championship belt.
I say he doesn't cheat.
I was just going to ask you, Detective Garcia. I think there might be some challengers that are going to step up and kind of get at him for that. So that's going to be interesting.
We'll see.
Absolutely. And one of the things too is on December 18th we're going to have Operation Escort Santa. And that's going to be myself and other members of the police department with the assistance of the fire department and 100.7 WLEV radio. We're going to escort jolly old St. Nick to the events throughout the community. And we're going to have stops along the route. And I'm going to give you some times right now. They're approximate. Some of the things, we're going to start at Mountainville, the community organization over there at 535 West Emmaus Avenue. We'll be there about 1 o'clock. Then we're going to be arriving at Franklin Park in the 200 block of North 14th Street at about 1:45 p.m. And then the 100 block of North 3rd Street about 3:15 p.m. And then at Midway Manor, we'll cap us off on the east side at 4 p.m. And so then we want to be able to make sure that we as a community are going throughout our different sections of the city, regardless of where you're at. And I have some news that just came through. We did have an elderly dementia patient who went missing for a little bit. He was a 74-year-old male, but I'm told he was located safely just now. So thank you to our team that was out there looking for this gentleman. He is in police contact right now, so we're able to kind of connect him with a hospital or back to his family and be able to support him. And ladies and gentlemen, I didn't have it here on the agenda, but Project Lifesaver, it's a huge thing. Project Lifesaver is something that assists us greatly with recovering individuals. It's a radio frequency program where the individual who has autism or dementia or something like that is diagnosed by a doctor, they're able to get a wrist bracelet. With that wrist bracelet, there's certain rules and procedures that the person has to follow, which is supplemented by the family of that person, so that that person can maintain that band properly, so that the battery is working and everything like that. And if for some reason that person goes missing, we're able to locate that person and reconnect them back with the family. And recently, Good Shepherd, through their funding and assistance and donation, were able to support our mission to further accomplish and make inroads into that. So thank you to Good Shepherd. Thank you to our police officers. Thank you to the community that comes together in this very important time when a loved one goes missing. We want to return that person back to their families. And that's something that's huge with me. On another note, I want to talk about the direction of the Allentown Police Department. One of the things that I talked about recently, we had a kind of a community meeting at Muhlenberg College, and we talked about how can we talk to our neighborhood at large. How are people going to understand what's going on in the police department, and who do you talk to when a situation happens, right? A lot of people, since we were young kids back in the day, it was drilled in 911, right? And that's for emergencies, and that's still applicable. So if there is emergencies, 911 is the way to go. But there's other information, like there's a non-emergency number for our communication center, 610-437-7751. And that you can call for a non-emergency situation, and a police officer may be dispatched in those instances depending upon what that call is, or it could be referred to our police desk. But this information I'm talking to you right now, I want to make sure that our community knows how to get in contact with us if they need to. Providing information, emails that you can send out to various departments within or various units and divisions within the police department. Also, at the same time, we have a very robust Tip 411 program, which you can attach files to. So if somebody is doing something suspicious, you can record it and you can send it to us anonymously, and we'll verify and we'll collaborate and we'll look and see what exactly that is. So it's important that those things are not forgotten, that we have that capability to do. And it's important that, we don't lose sight that through the most minute thing that you might not think is important, if that gets reported, we're able to follow up and make sure that it isn't anything to be concerned of, and that we're able to do that. And we're going to look to increase our transparency in certain ways. So stay tuned for more on that front and what's happening with that. But we're going to be recruiting, we're going to be opening up the police officer examination process very soon. December 20th, I'm being told, is the date. And so that's going to be for our Bill 66. So those are people that are already officers or Act 120 certified, or also the competitive list. So that's people that do not have the Act 120 yet. They would go through the testing process, and that's going to be kept open for a period of time, and then the testing process is going to occur. So I would encourage you, if you're interested, to look at our human resources site on the Allentown website. You go to human resources and you got to click on civil service. And when that announcement is made, then you take a look and you fill out the requisite paperwork and you put in that information. I want to see Allentown come together and step up and kind of have some young folks, some young people, and they're in 21 and older, that want to become police officers and have an impact in this city. I'm from this city. I definitely am reaching out to you in a plea to take part and become a teammate of mine. This is one family that we have, and a lot of times you might not get along with all members of your family, and in some cases we have disagreements, but at the end of the day we can talk civil to each other and we can come together. So you might be sitting there watching this and saying, well, do I have what it takes? Am I able to do this? You won't know if you don't take that step. And that's what life is about. It's about taking that chance, taking that step, and making sure that you do your part to kind of increase the good of our community, and not be somebody that kind of just doesn't care, because that's not what we want. We want people that are engaged. We want people that want to make a difference, but that also understanding about public safety and making sure that that's a priority to our residents. And we'll work harmoniously with our other city departments to make sure that the needs are met of our community. And I do want to say that, it's a very extensive process, but it's a process that is needed because we want to make sure we hire the best candidate. And just as a stat for you to know, 1 out of every 10 applicant is a viable candidate, meaning that the other 9 are not. And that could be anything from background issues to anything like that. But, we have civil service rules, and they're available online. So if you're curious and interested to know what that is, you can definitely find that out. And I want to say, as the chief of police, I want to make sure that the best people come to our department. We've done a great job of diversifying our force. We're going to continue to do that. We're bringing on more female officers. We're bringing on more Latino officers, more African American officers. But I want to make sure that we have representation across the board. I want to make sure that we have not only the good representation, but quality representation. Educated individuals that come on board that can make a difference. I don't have all the answers, but I am here to let you know that I will work as hard as possible, and that the team that we have here, the family that we have here, we work together, we lean on each other, and this is a place that you're going to want to come and make your career at. So thank you, those who are listening out there. One of the final things that I want to talk to you about is also we created a LinkedIn page. And for those that are aware of what LinkedIn is, it's a professional website, social media format, kind of like Facebook, except it's more on the on like an employment type thing. So if you want to check us out, we're on LinkedIn on Allentown Police, and then you can check us out on that and see some of the information that we post on there, and also connect with us on YouTube, as we do have a YouTube channel. Of course, Facebook and Twitter, and it's key to check us out, because depending upon what social media format you like, we might like the layout of one over the other, and that's okay. We're human. We have different tastes. We have different interests, but that's the beauty of policing. We can adapt, we can adjust, and we can kind of put it how we as the city of Allentown, as the community, want to have our time here. And as a chief, I want to assure you that we are going to continue to move ahead in this department. And we recently had the retirements of Assistant Chief Bill Lake and Assistant Chief John Hill. Assistant Chief John Hill served the city for 28 years, and Assistant Chief Bill Lake served the city for 23 years. So thank you to those both gentlemen for taking the time to serve our city, to have such a great career in this department. At the retirement ceremony that we had for them, I said something, and it kind of just came to me, and it was like, retirement is not an ending. It's a beginning. It's a beginning for their chapter. So if they're listening, gentlemen, I wish you the best in anything that you do going forward. Thank you for your great service to our city. There's words can't capture the amount of thankfulness that we as a community have for you. And I'm sure that the residents here in Allentown echo the same sentiments. With that, there's always transition. So I'm very happy to let you know, and we put the media releases out, but Captain James Gress, who was our former captain of administration, is promoted to Assistant Chief of Support Services. So congratulations to Chief Gress, now Assistant Chief Gress, and Captain Mike Becker, who was our patrol captain. He's promoted to Assistant Chief of Operations. So those two gentlemen are going to be my right and left hand, and there's somebody that will support the team and the mission and the vision of our police department, so we can bring our department to the next level. We're going to be able to accomplish more things. We have a lot of good plans coming up, which we're going to talk about in future podcasts and in future things that we're going to be doing. With that, Lieutenant Dan Gross from our night shift, he was promoted to Captain of Patrol, and I want to wish Dan a successful career. He was definitely hired with me. He was hired with me, and he's somebody that I count on as a person that knows his methods. And that's what it's about, folks. It's about putting the right people on your team and making sure that you're moving forward. And I don't want an administration that is just a yes men to me, right? I want people that bring ideas, that bring solutions, and it's backed by data, because that's what it's about. We're going to make sure that what we do is right, not only for the police department, but for the community that we serve. And finally, we're going to close this. I want to say thank you for those who tuned in and are listening to us today. It always gives me pleasure, and I look forward to the podcast so that we can kind of catch up in the community and talk a little bit. We recently did a coffee with a cop event at a Riverside restaurant, with Eli and his team, and they were great. They were so nice. We had representatives from AT&T out there as well. And, thank you to everybody that attended and showed up. This city is great. We have a lot of different interests, a lot of different passions. I was in New York City last night. I took my daughter for her birthday. We went to see Hadestown, and what a great time, folks. But one thing that I was very happy about is when I was back in Allentown. This is home. It's nice to visit, but this here, Allentown, this is home, and we're here together. So let's establish this together. Let's continue to work forward, and many blessings to you and your family. And as the holiday comes up, Please make sure that you follow the safety tips that are there. And if I'm not mistaken, Detective Garcia, I believe we have a list of tips that we can talk about.
Absolutely, Chief. If the folks here want to check out our Facebook and also our LinkedIn, we do have some holiday safety tips. I can go over a few real quick before we play the two videos. I know the Chief had made a wonderful thank you video to our vets as well that he's gonna touch on. We'll play those at the end. But no, for the holidays, listen. We tell folks whether you're home or not. I know that electric bills are a little bit high or concern. But please leave lights on. Don't leave any packages in your cars. These things are extremely important. Have your packages delivered in times that you will be home. Maybe a neighbor can, pick up your package for you. Those type of things. Keeping your car locked, making sure that there isn't anything visible, not letting your vehicle run. And then obviously, always let folks know, if you're going to go shopping, if it's nighttime, what time you're going to go back, like your family, let them know that, hey, I'll be back at this time, so that people are aware where you're at, and then if you need help, they can help you. So let's all watch each other's back. That's one of the most important things. We're a community, like the Chief says, and we need to work together, and we will.
Thank you, Detective Garcia. And ladies and gentlemen out there, I just want to say thank you one last time. We're in this together. We're not alone in this. And the frustrations that you may feel at times is the same frustrations that I feel. And I'm going to tell you right now, the focus of some of the frustration is that the individuals that are choosing to be involved in some of the crime, the violence in that situation. We as a community have to stand together side by side and tell the individuals that are choosing to do this that they need to leave Allentown or make better choices, because that's the bottom line. And one of the things that I strongly believe in is public safety. We very much want to make sure that we have your back, that we're here for each other, and that we're going to move forward. And if the person doesn't want to change, they're going to have to deal with the consequences, right? And by law, we are empowered to enforce the laws. But it's not just about that. Remember that. It's a partnership. It's a team. And finally, many holiday blessings for everybody out there. Have a safe and great day, and please enjoy the video with Coffee with a Cop.
My name's Elias. My restaurant is Riverside Restaurant and Lounge, 123 West Hamilton Street in Allentown. My restaurant is open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We close on Tuesdays. We're open till 12 o'clock every day. Well, Sir Charles Roca came in here, and he comes in here every once in a while to eat and things like that, and he brought up that idea, and I was like, definitely my pleasure I can do anything to help out the cops, so for sure. I love to see people come out and interact with the cops and kind of build a relationship with them, so that's really my goal is more than anything else.
Buenos días, mi gente. Mi nombre es oficial Gislady Minaya. Estamos compartiendo por la comunidad en Café con Policía, porque es muy importante. Adelante.
We had a coffee with the cop through our leadership team to kind of give back to the community and just let you guys know about FirstNet.
Our goal today is to make sure that we are bringing our support from AT&T to our cops in our community and make sure that everybody's educated on our first responder promotions.
Hey, it's Sergeant Leonard down here at the Riverside Restaurant at Coffee with a Cop. Another great event. We'll see you at the next one. Stay tuned for more details.
Hola mi gente, ¿cómo está todo? Chief Roca coming to you from the Allentown Police Department. We're here today at William Allen High School at the Veterans Memorial they have. Absolutely, it's essential that today we give thanks and are so grateful and indebted to the proud veterans of our country, from the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard. Absolutely something that we are very supportive of here at the Allentown Police Department. We have many veterans in our police force. We have many veterans in different aspects in our community. So please take a moment today to say thank you to our veterans and for the service that they provided to our great nation. God bless you all. Thank you.